We're the Hydradenitis Super Divas. If you've got HS, you'll want to meet us. It's not your fault, put the shame to a halt. HS divas know how to have a ball. The Hydradenitis Super Divas. Put the shame to a halt, cause it's not your fault.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Hydradenitis Super Divas. I'm Brindley, here with Social Sid. Whoa.
I'm a Susette.
Yeah,
Susette
could I have
in social.
fumbled over that anymore? Okay, but you know who I'm here with. Give me a break. And today we have Athena Jerabia. Okay, I'm going to screw that up. Say it.
It's okay. Girbellini.
Okay, today is not my day with names, apparently. So Athena is the Hope for HS president, and Hope for HS is an HS advocacy group, and they focus heavily on support groups. So some of you may be familiar with their work. HS Connect is a huge sponsor of their work, their support groups. Every time we have an opportunity, we'll share any support that you guys have. And we've gotten a chance to really know Athena much better working through the HS Foundation and some of the initiatives that we're working with them behind the scenes. And so I wanted to have Athena on today to kind of talk about Hope for HS, what they do, what they focus on, how you may need this resource for yourself and where you can find them. So Athena, tell us more.
Well, thank you. And thank you to Brindley and HS Connect for having us. I love this environment that we're in, right, with the patient advocacy organizations, where we utilize each other for support and our resources. So I'm a big fan of HS Connect as well. And I really appreciate the opportunity that you've given us. So Hope for HS, we are now in our 11th year. We turned 10 last year. We were founded in Detroit as a nonprofit organization, and our primary function is to provide support for patients via support groups. So we do other initiatives, but primarily this is our focus. And so we offer a bunch of different support groups in different styles, but mainly we do it through the mechanism of chapters. So we have chapters throughout the country. Some of them meet in person, some of them meet virtually. The ones that meet virtually, anyone can attend. So some of our virtual meetings, like Hershey in LA, they get people from all over the world that attend. And then even the in-person ones, if you want to, you can meet them. You can go to them. But so yeah, this is the mechanism that we do it. And then we also believe that because we go on a chapter structure, that they are community-based. So you're not going to get the same type of support group in every group. What works for LA might not work for Birmingham. It might not work for Miami or Hershey. We kind of give them the bones of, here are some best practices. And then you guys let your patients that are attending the meetings kind of dictate and decide what works best for them. So LA, for example, is very structured with their meetings, right? They have formal introductions. They have a speaker, a topic. Everything is like on a time zone, like on a timeline. It works. They have a great following that attends. They have a great group of people that run their chapter. We step back and say, we are here for support. Let us know when your meetings are. You do what's best for your community. Hershey, on the other hand, is 100% support group. The things that we do to plan are set meeting dates and approve registrations for Zooms. Beyond that, we get started with an icebreaker, and it is 100% support group style. So we won't pick a speaker topic. We won't do any of that stuff. We are literally just there to talk to each other and connect with each other. So I really love that aspect of our organization. It's part of like the heart and soul is that what's best for LA might not be best for Hershey. And we really want to serve our communities across the country because it's different from place to place.
Yeah, and what one person may be looking for in a support group, they're not going to find in LA, but Hershey is exactly what they need. And
Right.
The availability to go to multiple meetings or find out what works best for you is also great. I love that. And it's one of the things that I think the HS community has done really, really well is we are not about reinventing the wheel. at one point people kept telling us that we needed a support group. The only support group that I ever even started was a parent support group when I had more time. And then we broke for like summer because people had kids that were out of school and stuff. And then we just kind of never resumed. And then it came up lately that we really need a place for teens to go and talk. So instead of saying like, oh, HS Connect should start a teen support group, I said, Athena, does Hope for HS have the bandwidth to start a teen support group? Like, I will support it. I will be a part of it. I can help facilitate it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to reinvent the wheel that Hope for HS and Hidradenitis and me have already created with
Right.
their support groups. And so I think that's a really wonderful and unique thing that happens in the HS community, especially because we all have our niche and we facilitate and direct people to each other. And I think that's a unique thing. We know there are enough HS patients to go around and we don't, meet the needs of every one of them, but dang it, we know somebody who does,
Yeah.
So I think that's a really great thing. And we've heard it's not the same in all disease groups, which makes me really sad because I think we all have such a good thing going between us.
Yeah, I really love the environment and the culture. Hope for HS cannot do everything in the way that HS cannot. We just don't have the bandwidth as organizations. And even if we could, our style might not fit every HS patient. So I love that we are really there to support each other. I'm a big fan of what HS Connect does. I'm a big fan of what Hidradenitis and Me does and all of the other patient organizations. I think that, there's a shoe for every person and there's a fit for every person. But yeah, I mean, I use your page.
Yeah.
They're literally the cutest too. Like, I remember seeing you guys at your PAC meeting, and it's like what, Patient Advocacy Council, is that what it
Yeah,
stands
now
for?
it's the coalition and it's becoming a for real thing.
Oh my gosh. But
Yeah.
they really did take it and run with it, and they knew they were stronger together than apart. And I think what a special thing.
Yeah, we're all headed in the same direction. We all have the same overarching goal. Each of us fill the roles that patients need differently. And I think that there's such a mutual respect amongst our groups for each other. And it's a really, really fascinating thing to see. And I think that the patient support group role like that it's not my gig.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience for it, so to speak. Patient support
You
group.
do, but you don't.
Oh, that was funny. But it's just not my thing. I'm not drawn to that. And so instead of trying to do something that doesn't fit with what I feel like my strengths are, I'm going to call my friend over here who knows exactly how to do this, and we're going to work together to make that happen. And that's exactly what's happening now. So stay tuned, people, because there's going to be a teen support group coming out that we're working on right now. So, and it's going to have, mentors in there. It's going to have, residents that we're working on getting to be a part of that. So if there are medical questions, they can be answered accurately, and really just give teens a safe space to come and talk about their experiences.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that's really been missing, and I think it's so necessary.
And it's going to fill a huge gap that a lot of people who did have HS years ago in their teens and didn't talk about it, and have that huge gap between symptoms and diagnosis. You're kind of help closing that gap by giving them a resource and a place to talk about it as they're going through it, and not having to like, well, back when I was, because a lot of us have to reminisce, and they will have that support in real time, which is going to be a game changer for them. That's awesome.
I think one of the things that I'm most excited about was that I learned how to talk about HS in these support groups. I kind of like modeled other patients who've been speaking about it for a long time, and just by attending kind of listened to what other people were saying and felt, things that they were saying that I could connect with, and then I could use that to kind of help translate it to friends and family. And so I think teens, like, this has got to be an area where they struggle with a lot in trying to describe what's going on with them, trying to tell other people how they have it. And we learn from each other, right? Like, so I think not only that, but there aren't many safe places yet to really
Mhm.
have this disease, to be with this disease, to exist with this disease safely without judgment, to talk about it and to not have levels of bias that you feel like you kind of have to break through.
Mhm.
And so I'm really excited that we are able to provide this to teenagers because I think they need it so bad. They have other teenagers that they have to communicate that with. They have parents that they have to tell. And, like, it's so much that they're dealing with. And so this is one of the projects this year that Hope for HS is doing that's super close to my heart because I think it's really needed.
Yeah. And hopefully like we can help them at this age become better educated and better advocates for themselves
Mhm.
instead of waiting until they get into adulthood, like you said, and then figuring out how to do that. Like we actually have a chance almost like get them while they're young to help mold that and make them feel comfortable talking about their disease and not to be shamed and to hopefully change that, in the future, not only for the group of people who end up joining us, but for more teens overall. And once we can strip away that layer of shame, I think we'll have so many more people that are talking about their disease. I mean, it was crazy. We were just talking on another episode about how the number one podcast that we have recorded so far and that has the most listens is the one about men and HS. By far, hands down. I was like, that's really interesting.
It's always surprising.
Yeah.
It's always surprising.
Yeah.
One of the stories that I always like to tell and how I got started in all of this was that I was in a clinical trial years ago. And at the time, I knew nobody with this disease. And so right across the hall from the trial room, there was a cafe. And I would go after my appointments and sit in that cafe and get a cup of coffee and sit at the table right next to the door and watch the clinic room to wait for the next patient coming in because I wanted so badly to see another person with this disease.
Mhm.
I didn't know what they looked like. I didn't know what this disease was on another human being or how they were carrying themselves. And so I love this aspect now of the patient community. I've never met an HS patient that I don't love and adore. We're all so kind-hearted to each other. We're all so sweet. The other story that I like to tell in line with that is that when Birmingham launched their chapter, Dr. Tiffany Mayo, she had a couple of residents with her. It was virtual. And there's always nerves on like the first day, like the first chapter launch. And, we prep, we go through all of it. I'm always there just to kind of help facilitate dialogue and conversation. But like, you're always just a little nervous that maybe you're not going to get organically that conversation flowing right away, right? Like with Hershey, we've been established for how long? You can't shut us up. We're all best friends. We're asking each other, how was your last doctor visit? And, but the new chapters are kind of new. So, a couple of minutes into it, like Dr. Mayo and I could just sit back because organically these people who never met each other just started supporting each other, going, well, yeah, I've talked to my husband about this and, she's showing symptoms of this. And yeah, I've got this going on too. Within minutes, they were organically formed and so excited to talk to other patients and support each other that we just sat back.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that about the patient community. I think it's really reflective of who we are.
Mhm.
And how much conversation there is to be had about it amongst like peer-to-peer HS patient to HS patient or HS patient to family member, HS patient to doctor. There's so many ways that the conversation is so versatile when we finally feel like we can talk about it that I believe it's powerful. We say it's like word vomit. We probably
Yeah.
never shut up. But I am intrigued to know how one gets involved with a specific chapter, or is it more to wherever you live? So like, is there a Colorado chapter, or what would that look like if I wanted to attend a support group?
So right on our front page, we have a calendar. And all of the meetings that we have are posted right on that calendar. We will tell you if it's in person or virtual. If it's virtual, you are absolutely you can be, we have people all over the world that attend. So as long as you're okay to stay up, we've had somebody attend, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning where they are, 11 o'clock at night. So it doesn't really matter. where you are, as long as you're willing to stay up, I guess. But you can attend, as long as you are a patient or a caregiver. Those are our restrictions. So if you are not a patient or a caregiver, we ask that, to keep this a very safe place for patients, that those are the criteria. We will allow medical students and residents who are affiliated with a chapter. Sometimes they're launching a chapter. We actually suggest that they come to a meeting so that they can see one in place. But everyone that's there is safe to be there. So yeah,
Nice.
we have the registration links right on our page if you want to attend, and that's how you go.
And I think, it said about having residents there, and I think it's so important for them to hear what it's like to have HS, because, first of all, the textbooks are scarce anyway when it comes to anything HS. I think if there's anything, it's one page, in what they're learning about in most cases, unless they take a special interest in HS. But it's so important for them to learn and hear and be a part of this patient journey, because they're going to be the ones who we're leaning on as we're going through, when they get to the point where they're through their residency and ready to treat, that we need them. We want them to be knowledgeable about our disease and about how it impacts our daily lives and all of that stuff. So it's really neat that they're so interested in taking an active role too.
I call them the baby derms.
Yeah.
It's actually something that the dermatologists benefit from as well. I always tell this to chapters that are launching, is that you've got generally, hopefully, at least 30 minutes with your patient in that room. Is a whole lot to go over, right? And so when you are like in these support groups and you start hearing your patients speak, you can start to understand some of their decision-making mechanisms and get information that you might not get in that 30-minute. Like it kind of paints a more, like a bigger, clearer picture for the dermatologist that's attending as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it works universally all around. And then the patients get to see a dermatologist who's actually interested and passionate in treating this disease. They get to see residents and medical students who are interested, and that number is on the rise, but it's not completely out there yet.
Yes. And that's one of the benefits, I think, to, what we do, is that we don't do a good enough job, in my opinion, I don't anyway, of passing on the information about, like, when we go to SHSA, look at all of these people who are super engaged in HS, who are here working on our behalf tirelessly. Some of these people, like, does Dr. Garg sleep? I don't know. I mean, the question remains to be seen. But we get the pleasure and like the honor of working with them in such a close way that the rest of the HS world doesn't know that those guys are there and how hard they're working for us and how tirelessly and how dedicated they are. I mean, I've never come across.
I mean, my next SHSA, I'm gonna make Mr. Dr. Dave Louis. He's gonna do TikTok with me.
Yeah.
That's how I can show. I'm like, this is the coolest friggin' just doctor you'll ever meet.
It's just such an amazing thing to see. And like, I wish that we could miraculously take all of these people to witness what this is like. To see all of these people who are behind us and pushing and so helpful. It's such a lovely, lovely thing. And so it is really nice for the patient community to be able to see derms and baby derms there, learning and expressing an interest.
Even all the stuff that I didn't understand, like all of the charts and stuff in the patient, like where we were all set up in Arizona, it was just like, look at all the effort and the time that people put into learning about HS. And I left there feeling so empowered as a patient, because I was like, look at how many people care. Like,
yeah,
between the doctors and the talks, and even just like, that's when I first met Athena and learned about the support groups, and it was like, look at how many people care. Love this for us, and people just don't know what they don't know. So it's important that we spread the word and we show all the hard work that you guys do collectively as a pack, and then just the people outside of your pack who motivate us to keep going too. It's really, really inspiring.
The whole community, like, for as much as we talk about how empowered the patients are and with the organizations and how we share information and how we're committed. It's also like that on the doctor end, right? Like they come together at the SHSA, but they're also collaborating in so many other ways. They're collaborating on research papers, they're collaborating on projects. You know, the HS Foundation does a ton of work as well. And so it's neat that they are doing this. It's like we all, once you bear witness to what this disease can truly do to a human being and the impact that it can have on somebody's life, it's like, how do you not do something? Like my disease is controlled, right? I have a world-class dermatologist who is, you know, I always say that there's 3 people in this world who are determined to eradicate this disease from my body. And it is me, my mother, and Dr. Kirby.
Yeah.
But like, oh my God, I got off track. So sorry.
No.
But once you bear witness to this disease, like, how can you not do something about it? Like my disease is fine now, right? I'm on medication. I've had a bunch of surgeries, probably use a few more, but we are getting there.
You
But
and Brinley are surgery queens.
yeah,
You got to
So
get
you
yours in
have
before.
HS too, Athena.
yeah, I know. I just, it needs to happen. Like I've had a bunch of surgeries, but yeah, like you can't hear these stories and know that it's still going on and not want to do something about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so can I just dial back a second? Because
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't not think that you had HS. I think anybody that we meet on the podcast, I'm like, they got HS. They have to. That's why they're talking to us. But I would just love personally to hear your story of your own HS journey and what brought you to advocate at the level that you do. Because you're a pretty boss, you know, like you're pretty up there.
So it was the typical puberty, right? Like just pimples here and there. My mom got them, my sister got them. Like it was just never anything that was on huge scale. And so at 21, I had an abscess that was really substantial in a private area of my body. And I went to a doctor and he put me under anesthesia for an IND because at 21, that was 20 years ago, that's how they were doing INDs. And so an incision and drainage, I'm sorry. And so at the follow-up, I was mortified. I was like, I don't want to ever go through this again. Like, please, I said to the doctor, you know, how do I prevent this from happening again? What causes this to happen? I wanted to know because I'm pretty proactive in my health, right? And after this man had just examined post-operatively, a very private area of my body, he tells me that these are caused by poor hygiene and that if I want to prevent them from happening, I need to take better care of myself. I need to stop, I can wash twice a day and that I need to stop scratching myself. And I left that appointment not enraged by what this doctor said, but instead the opposite. I was completely mortified. I was like, oh my God, I have a hygiene problem. I can't talk to anybody about this, but I got to figure out what's going on. Cause like nobody wants to have
You
a
the
hygiene
shame.
problem.
Yeah.
Right. So I spent 7 or 8 years. I was 28 when I had to go to a doctor next. My husband was in the hospital. This was starting to spread quite a bit. And I walked into an elevator and I saw a poster for MRSA. And I thought, it looks like that, right? So let me go to an urgent care. And the second urgent care visit, like the first one, they gave me antibiotics and said, if this doesn't work, come back. Well, I was like right back, just rebounding right back.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah. And I had a brand new doctor at that visit. And so, you know, I always use like the Doogie Howser reference for those of us that are old enough to remember, but he was like younger than I was at 28 and probably just freshly graduated from medical school. And he's like, that's not MRSA, that's hidradenitis suppurativa. And that's how I got my diagnosis. I went on to have a failed antibiotic regimen. And then I went back to the doctor because again, I was determined. It was like the first visit, he said, this might get better with menopause. And I was like,
That's a long way off.
28.
So I just wait.
This is spreading. Like, this is like, you're telling me like this is like 20 years from now. Like, yeah, exactly. Do I just wait? And so then he said, when I went back, I was like, please, like, you have to do something. This is getting worse. And he was like, well, I've got this clinical trial going on. And then I'm the type of person where I do something either 150% or I don't do it at all. So once they opened, like once I got into the clinical trial and they were like, oh, by the way, we have this going on, we have that going on, like it just, yeah.
So then how did you end up at Hope for HS?
So that's quite a funny story. Hope for HS actually launched in Hershey before I started attending the meetings. I was getting emails about it and I'd said something to my late husband. I was like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't know that I want to go and sit and talk about my HS for an hour and a half with people that I don't know. And
I'll
he-
look at you.
Right. Yeah. and in person, right. Yes. And in person nonetheless, because this was before the pandemic. So Hershey met in person before the pandemic. We're 100% virtual now. That chapter is 100% virtual now. And so he was like, just go to one. If you don't like it, you don't ever have to go back, but just go to one. And I did. And again, I don't do something either 0 or 150%, but I kind of found my tribe. Like, I really enjoyed talking to people, to be able to sit across the table from someone and look at someone that has this disease, and for them to say, you know, I get flares right before my period. And I'm like, I get flares right before my period. Like, to just kind of make that connection. So once I started going, I never stopped. And then, you know, they offered me the position of community lead. And then a couple of years ago, they wanted to change leadership. And so they offered me the role of president. And like, I just, like, this is the work of my soul.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like this, I always say that my job pays my bills, but this feeds my soul.
Yeah.
And so how do you not take this opportunity and say, absolutely. Like, I want to continue to create safe environments for patients because I know how badly I needed that. I still need it now.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't think you ever stop needing it. I
Right.
think that it's something that continues because, you know, life changes and HS changes and relationships change and all of those things they're not stagnant. And so having like a support group that you can count on and there's just something about, like we said this at the Beautify HS project, it's like nothing else you've ever done before when you talk to other HS patients.
Yeah.
It's like you instantly are connected because you all share the same trauma almost.
Yeah.
And they're the only other people that can understand what it's like
Yeah.
to be you, to walk a mile in your shoes, to, you
I
know.
remember meeting my first person who had HS in real life, and we just like happened to have the same job. And I just remember thinking, like, did we just become best friends? And then like when we didn't, I was like, oh. But after that, I like craved that. And now I'm like, y'all are never going anywhere. I'm sorry. I can talk to you for hours about this and you'll never get tired of me. And if you do, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's such a raw, special energy that we can give each other that honestly, like nobody else can give us because they just can't relate on that level. They can empathize or whatever, empathize,
Yeah.
sympathize, whatever one. They can do that, but they don't know the physical pain. Like when we were hearing Glow on another episode talk about how even just a one motion, like that stinging, horrible pain. Only we know what we're talking about when we're like, you literally have to lay still, like don't breathe too hard even because it's painful. And like nobody gets it until you meet people who get it, and then you don't want to ever let them go. It's beautiful.
It really is. I absolutely love our community. Like,
Oh, I can't hear her.
Oh, did you come unplugged? Oh, hold on. Now is it better?
Is she talking? She's not talking.
no, I'm here.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
You can hear it now. Okay, perfect. Minor technical difficulties. Yeah, it is a really special thing. And I am so appreciative too of all of the physicians who give their time to us. I mean, the fact that we have people that we can call on or text or reach out to that are always willing to help. Like I've never met a group of people like that.
Yeah.
And that the patients are so They so want to help other patients. And I don't think we realize how much like we get out of it ourselves when you have the ability or the opportunity to help someone else. You're like saving yourself at the same time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That girl that used to sit across the hallway, like looking to connect with other patients, or even just looking to see what other patients look like. We are laying some groundwork now to make sure that that doesn't happen. And, you know, we're not going to save the whole world, but we're going to do our part.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And I think it's just knowing that like when we're doing the kind of work that we're doing for a disease that was so overlooked for such a long time, like we're laying groundwork for when we're not even here anymore. Like the generations and generations and generations that will come after us, we just want to make it a little bit easier a part of your journey. And so that's the impact that I hope for with all of the work that not only, you know, I do or you do, but the whole everybody collectively together. And I think we are already on the right page, knowing that like, okay, this is what the community needs, but it's not my strength. How can I delegate this to somebody who's already doing something similar or already this is their strength? We're willing to share the pieces of pie instead of feel like we have to change the world all by ourselves. And so I
Right.
think just already having that as a part of our mission, we're going so much further than we could have ever even imagined. I'm so proud of you guys.
Well, and thank you for saying that. And we're so happy that we have advocates like the two of you and the other, you know, there's so many right now that are doing such amazing things. That are looking at individual needs. Like I can't do the things that HS Connect does, but I can do what I do well. And, you know, Jasmine Epsy with her organization does something really special for us, but we all benefit from it in the end, and
Mhm.
future generations benefit from it in the end.
Yes. Yeah, and that's all that we want, I think all of us collectively, is just to make it less shameful for all of the people who come behind us. You know, to not have to carry the weight and the shame and the stigma of HS the way that we've had to, and to have a much more open and honest conversation about it, and to be able to just accept their disease and like get treatment for it just like we do for anything else. And not care, I don't want to say carry it proudly, because I think that that's a difficult thing to do. I mean, even for those of us who talk about it constantly, but to not feel the shame and the stigma that we've felt for so long, I think even just that would be so freeing.
Well, and to
Yes.
carry the blame,
Yes.
you know, it is ingrained in at least our generation of patients, and I'm really hoping that this changes, is I've got a flare. What did I do? Did I
Yes.
eat trigger
Mhm.
food? Was I stressed too much? Did I think too much about this? Like, did I not wash properly? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we just instantly go to blame.
Yes.
And I am happy to see now, like, there's a lot of dialogue changing. This weekend, I started to hear for the first time a major shift, right, in the dialogue of how they are addressing smoking and weight loss. And I was beside myself.
Oh,
because-
please share.
Yeah, because when we think about, like, that's a trigger, right, with all patients when we talk about this. But when we think about it, like, it's just, yeah. So the dialogue was, these are risk factors,
Mm.
right? Like, categorically, you cannot deny that statistically, these are
Yeah.
risk factors for having this disease. However, there is currently no data to support that losing weight or quitting smoking will improve the disease. My heart went pitter patter. We heard this, what, a year or two ago at another event? And now I'm starting to see the dialogue start to repeat itself a little bit, and the narrative starting to change. And I was elated and beside myself, because yes, you're doctors, you have to mention weight loss and smoking. Lung cancer, no good, right? Like, we get it. That, you know, the disease and the risk factors associated with obesity, I understand all of that. But the dialogue that has traditionally been used, even like unwillingly, categorized HS patients and put the stigma of we are all overweight smokers.
Yeah, and the disease
Chain
is our fault.
smokers.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
all our fault.
Yeah,
and that we have this because we're either not washing, or we're overweight, or we're smokers, or we're some combination of all three of those.
Yep,
And so
absolutely.
hear the medical community now shift their dialogue in this way.
that's a huge
Is
win.
a
Yeah,
huge win. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about that on another episode, how it's like,
That's
how do you
awesome.
turn that dialogue around at a doctor's appointment from
Mhm.
when they're telling you, like, you know, that's basically what you're told is lose weight and stop smoking, see ya. And you're like, well, wait a minute, what's my medical management? You know, like,
Right.
let's get on to the medical management piece of it.
So, I don't want to announce this too soon, but because I presume that this isn't good, this episode isn't going to be coming out for a minute, right?
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Okay, so that aside from the support groups, one of the things that we do are take special initiatives still within our realm. So we are getting ready to launch a collaboration with another organization where we're going to navigate patients on how to navigate visits, right? And we're going to teach you guys with people in those fields, like if you are having a visit and it's not going the way that you thought it would, or if you want to ask questions, how do you go about doing this? Like if all of a sudden the doctor wants to just prescribe you antibiotics and send you on your way, how do you respectfully communicate back to that doctor that you're wondering about more options, more treatment options, things like that. But we're hoping to facilitate dialogue between likely encounters that patients will have, because right now, not everyone has access to a specialist, right?
Mhm.
There's a growing number of them, and we love every single one of them, but not everybody has access to one, right?
Yep.
So you're more likely to go to a non-HS specialist dermatologist. You might go to your primary care doctor,
Mhm.
surgeons, gynecologists, things like that. How do you, as a patient, navigate these visits? And so that's one of the initiatives this year that Hope for HS is working on.
That's so awesome.
That makes
because
me
we
so
literally
happy.
just did an episode on like in our own language from our own experiences on what to expect from the visit at the dermatologist. Like,
Yeah,
so that way they don't feel so unequipped or have so much anxiety to go or do a no call, no show on their appointment day because they feel like, oh, well, maybe the HS is too bad right now. I don't want them to see it in that case. Or I made my appointment 3 months ago when my HS was bad. Now it's chilling. So I feel like I'm going to waste her time today. And having that tool for them is going to accelerate the amount of people who follow through with the dermatologist, not just on appointment number one, but the follow-up appointment and the appointment with their PCPs, and going, like we said, to prioritize the other parts of your health, going to the OB-GYN and different things like that. So it's just really so cool how all the time we see a full circle moment of like talking about something and then knowing that there's somebody in the HS world already, like who knows that's a need and a desire in the community, making it happen. It's just beautiful. I'm so proud
It's
of you
so
guys. That's so
fun.
awesome. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, we're collaborating with the HS Foundation. I think I can say that. Maybe you want to keep that, maybe you want to, I don't know, because we're actually probably going to launch our first series hopefully within like a month and a half. But yeah, so we're going to make it like a multi-part series. And then, because speaking from experience, I have awful short-term memory. We're going to take like notes from the session and turn them into laminated postcards. Because I find that what happens is that we can have this conversation and I could be like, yeah, I'm going to ask about this, 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 and this, and I should do this when this happens. But then I get in front of the doctor and I'm like, what was I supposed to say?
Yeah.
What was I supposed to do? So like, I want like a postcard printed laminated version that we actually like print out and mail to people, because I'm 41 and I own a house and like I have a car, but I just got my first printer. I was like, even if we made like a printable document, not everybody has a printer.
Right.
So I want to be able to.
Or my ink's been out for 7 years.
Yeah.
You know?
They don't even make the ink anymore for your 7-year-old printer.
Go to Target all the time.
Yeah.
I don't have printer paper. Right. Yeah.
Right. It's a real adult purchase.
Yeah.
Printer.
Especially when you've worked at home and used your work at home printer for so long, and then it's like, oh, I got to get myself a real printer.
Yeah.
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 Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
so-
It's so neat to see like the HS community and the patient advocacy groups just identifying the gaps and then working to fill those gaps. And like, we can't wait to share this information so that everybody has access to this and can take advantage of
Get your
watching
lemonade
these.
and
And yeah, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just so important. And I love that we have so much, action happening between all of us, that we can be super supportive of each other. And the only people who win are the whole patient you know, the whole patient community. And
Yeah.
then we win because we're helping them, and that's our entire goal.
And we're patients
Absolutely.
ourselves.
Yeah.
That's what I just love so much. It's almost like any person I've met in this HS space personally has their own skin in the game.
Yeah.
Like either they have HS or they love somebody who has HS and they were impacted in that way. Excuse me. And it just makes me feel good to know that the purpose and the passion is in the right direction. And it's not just a monetary political thing, which is just so beautiful to see.
Yeah, no, we have a really, really good group, and I could not be more proud of everything that we're accomplishing together and separately, and being able to support each other. So Athena, thank you so much for being on with us today. I love seeing you. I can't wait to see you in a little while in San Diego when I
Yeah,
get to
I'm
give you
so
a hug.
excited.
I know.
Thank you
So
for having me. I really appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. So we'll post Hope for HS's info in the show notes too, so that people can head over there. And
Yeah.
then just know that as soon as everything launches, that we'll be sharing all of that information to the patient community too. So thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the next episode of Hidradenitis Suppurativas. Bye guys.